for the listeners out there, we have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, right?
Correct.
So parasympathetic is geared towards like relaxation. I guess the way I look at it is relaxation, and then the sympathetic side is more like the fight or flight. Is that right?
Correct.
So how does chiropractic care, help engage the parasympathetic system or turn off sympathetic? I don't know anything about that. I think people would be really interested in hearing how that works.
Okay, so well, the sympathetics, you're right, are fight or flight. And so during fight or flight, we have to understand what's the purpose of fight or flight. It's a survival mechanism that we have, developed over eons, correct? And it's meant to save your life in an extreme situation where you're facing danger. So neurologically, what happens is our pupils dilate to allow a lot of light in. Our body produces, there's a signal sent to the adrenal glands, and it dumps adrenaline into the bloodstream, which causes vasoconstriction, and it raises our blood pressure, and it suppresses our digestive system because that's not important at that moment, right? And it drives the blood to your big muscles in order to either run like crazy or to fight like crazy to save your life. It also suppresses your immune function. So those are critical things to really understand, because who has stress in their life today? Pretty much everybody. And people are worked up just by going on a social media feed and get themselves into a sympathetic dominant state.
And this is why I wanted to ask this question today, because I feel that stress levels are at an all-time high, right? Like society is making us busy. The news is pissing us off. Social media is, getting us agitated. And I've always been intrigued by how a chiropractic adjustment can help relieve that sympathetic feeling. So keep going with that.
So we use a technology in our practice called heart rate variability. And heart rate variability is an assessment really of how your parasympathetics and sympathetics are getting along. And the simple way, the layman terms of how to explain that is your sympathetics are your gas pedal and your parasympathetics are your brakes. So the braking system, which allows you to rest, relax, digest your food, fight off infection, and so forth, that has to be equally yoked with your parasympathetics. So an HRV gives you an assessment of how balanced that really is. Okay. So now when we look to the spine and, the chiropractic adjustment, we can get into that later, but there are areas of the spine, the top and the bottom, really, the coccyx sacrum area, that is predominantly parasympathetic. And then the upper cervical near the brainstem is also parasympathetic. Most everything else in between is sympathetic. Okay. So that's why, like, for instance, I see a lot of infants that come in after difficult deliveries that are struggling with just functional things like sleeping, nursing, and just being happy babies, right? Digesting. And so after a difficult birth, which system is more active?
Yeah, the sympathetic.
You're sympathetic. And so my adjustment is always focused on parasympathetic with those kids, and it's light contacts on those regions of the spine, upper cervical, sacral area, coccyx area, and just holding those contacts. And typically the babies fall asleep right then and there, or they go from being agitated to just this state of calm. And it's pretty amazing, because really we're syncing those two systems that they desire to work together.
I wanted to interrupt this amazing podcast with a brief message about one of our sponsors, Lombardi Chiropractic in Oneida, New York. Nearly 65 million Americans report suffering from back pain, and I used to be one of them. I found Dr. Pete 8 years ago due to my continual back discomfort and pain. As an active athlete and someone who likes to play hard, I was frustrated when my sessions in the gym started to regress, my sleep went downhill, and I had no idea why. After a comprehensive evaluation by Dr. Pete's team, I was given a detailed treatment plan that I followed to the T. After 3 months of care, my body felt amazing. As a coach, I understand that if you don't maintain your abilities, you will lose it. And the last thing I wanted to do was lose the great progress I had made. I have used Dr. Pete as my personal chiropractor for the last 8 years and attribute much of my physical abilities and overall health to his approach with chiropractic care. The good news is, Lombardi Chiropractic is offering a 50% discount on the initial exam and x-rays to all new members that mention the A is A Health podcast. So stop trying to self-diagnose and save yourself time and money by visiting lombardichiropractic.com and schedule your initial consultation today.
I find that fascinating. I've been a patient of yours for 8 years, and you did the HRV test on me, 2 years ago, was it?
I think so.
I came in, I had some kind of tweak, I don't know what it was, and I was like red. It was bad.
Yeah.
So like my sympathetic was jacked, my parasympathetic was not, doing its thing. And after a series of like 3 or 4 weeks, we retested that. It might have been 2 months. And I was back in the green.
Yep.
It was fascinating to me.
So
Right.
Josh, you had a low heart rate variability, and then after treatment, you ended up with a higher heart rate variability.
I don't know the low and the high.
We wouldn't really consider it low and high.
Okay.
Because the way the graphing works, it gives you kind of a score overall. And you're looking at, are you more parasympathetic? Are you more sympathetic? But how balanced are those two?
Okay.
And we're looking at, if you're perfectly balanced, you score 100%, just like a test or an examination.
Right.
And our goal is to be between 80 and 100.
Okay.
But our testing also looks at energy levels too. So like, how much reserve does your nervous system have in the tank? So that also, like a charge of a battery, should be fully charged in that 80 to 100% range. So like he was more low and left, meaning his energy was drained, but he was more sympathetic dominant.
Huh. Okay. Wow.
And it was fascinating because with that test, I didn't know what to look for. I really just knew nothing about that. And then you explained that just like you did now. But then after adjusting and then some stretching and the whole process, we saw the difference. Like, it's not like I could trick the system.
Right. I love that. I love when people try to game it. They're like, just
so
sit up straight.
Yeah, I would be one of those to try to figure out how to get the perfect score, but you can't do that, I guess, with that test. So, but it was a really good validity to see that change. And then how much better I felt also proved that when I scored bad, I didn't feel good. And then when I felt good, because I'm very in tune with how I feel, my score improved dramatically.
Right.
And I attribute a lot of that to the chiropractic adjustment. I know when you adjust my neck, I feel a huge difference in tension, like physical, and I don't know, maybe it's not a placebo, but like, it's definitely like, I just feel my shoulders drop. I feel more chill, feel more relaxed. And the rest of that day, I'm very balanced and stable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, without a doubt. You carry the majority of your stress in your neck.
For sure.
Without a doubt. And like you say, you feel it. I feel it immediately. After the adjustment, the difference in the tone and tension in your upper cervical musculature and also your lower cervical, because you put so much stress there as well from all your jujitsu that you do.
Well, I felt the same. I've had a few adjustments from you, Pete. And the one thing that I really notice is when I go out to when I'm leaving your office and I'm heading back out to my car, I'm moving my head left and right, like looking over each shoulder. And it's so much easier to look side to side.
Yeah.
Leaving the office compared to when I was going in.
Oh, that's great.
That was really nice.
Oh, that's always great.
Well, like
This
the,
leads into, Josh, if you don't mind, a question I had, because a lot of people think of chiropractic care and they think of, going to correct some back pain. I think that's probably the most common reason people go a lot of times.
Mhm.
But we've started off talking about him fixing your sympathetic system. And, Pete, you talked about working with infants and the care that you've given them. So what are some of the things that chiropractic care can help with, aside from like just what people usually think of, like the back pain and neck pain? What are some other things that people might not really associate chiropractic care with helping with, but that it does?
Is joint pain or stiffness affecting your quality of life? I personally suffered from knee and lower back pain from my training and hobbies. Since I started taking a scoop of NativePath's collagen every day, I noticed a significant improvement in my joint health. I am able to do more things I enjoy with those I love and care about. I personally recommend everyone try NativePath's collagen for joint recovery and for a variety of other health benefits. NativePath has generously offered all of our listeners 15% off by simply entering the code AISA15 at checkout. That's code AISA15 for 15% off your entire purchase. All of NativePath's products are high purity, organic, grass-fed, and clean. So check out all of the great products they have available at their website, nativepath.com.
So, well, that's a really loaded question.
Okay.
And it's good. I think it deserves a little bit of attention because, again, most people look through the lens of treatment, meaning that I don't seek something out until I have an issue or a problem, and
Mhm.
then I want to try to treat it with a therapy or a remedy. And treatment, by definition, has a beginning and it has an end to it, versus the lens that I look through when I see every patient is that I'm looking to care for you. And care is something that we do ongoing.
Mhm.
Like we care for our bodies with eating healthy.
Right.
We care for our bodies by doing exercise and good movement activities, right? And we care for our teeth by brushing and flossing them. And when do you stop doing that? You never really stop doing it. And you do it. Why? Because it's good for you, right?
Mhm.
So chiropractic care is good for everybody that has a spine and a nervous system and they're alive, right?
Yep.
So it's good for you, just like brushing your teeth. So now what can happen as a result of that is really dependent upon what interference is causing what problem. So in other words, with misalignments in the spine or nerve interference where the brain and body are not communicating at 100%, that leads the door open for problems to
Mhm.
develop. And it can be as simple as, I have a stiff neck or a headache, or it could be something like I have like really a hard time going to the bathroom
Mhm.
or digesting my food. I constantly have reflux or I have allergies. I mean, something that I see a lot of that people never showed up for in the first place. But they tell me after, 30 days of being under care that, I've noticed that my allergies are gone.
Wow.
I'm not having that allergy issue that I had this time of year. Like normally spring and fall, I struggle with, sneezing and runny noses and scratchy eyes and all that stuff. And right now, I haven't had any problem yet, and I should have had it by now, you know.
Yeah.
So same thing with digestion. I mean, I mentioned that to people in the beginning, and I had a woman last month who she's like, I couldn't believe it, and she goes, I never really thought I had a problem going to the bathroom, but since I've been getting adjusted, it's so much easier for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is great perspective because like Andy said, I think that 90% of people think chiropractic care is A, for back pain only, and then B, when they are in pain, seek treatment. And I love how you explained like maintenance care.
Hmm.
And I actually, it's funny, Andy, you asked that question because I have that as a question in terms of like, um, what is the mindset around wanting to seek help only when we're in pain versus like how we eat healthy all the time, not
Mhm.
just when we feel horrible. I think more people need to view chiropractic care and all their physical care as more of a maintenance piece as opposed to break it and then fix it.
Yeah, I don't even like the word maintenance,
Mhm.
because that means that you're maintaining where you are.
Oh,
And that's why I try to use the word wellness instead of maintenance. So that's where you're constantly evolving and improving, right? So we're always looking to do a little bit better. That Japanese word kaizen, right? To be, just a little bit better each day.